Okay, so I want to show you something that I think is really cool. Paddy is in a reclining twist, and some of you might have been wondering why, when I do the reclining twist, am I always getting you to lift your hips up first, move them, and then come into the twist? Well, let's have a look at that now. Paddy's already in this pretty well aligned reclining twist, so you can see that if you look at the angle here of his spine, it's just going straight down the center line of the mat. And that's because he's come into it in the way that I've been bringing you in every morning. Let's look at what happens when he doesn't do that. So notice here that he's sort of perfectly aligned, and then Paddy, if you wouldn't mind, just come back to center. So he's not going to set up his hips like I've been asking you to in the mornings. He's just going to bring knees to chest and then lower the knees over to the right. Now look at where his spine is now. Hopefully you can see that on the camera, that he's at an angle, right? So he's come out of alignment now in order to get into this twist. And so yeah, that's why we do it. So this is not ideal. He's not as well aligned as he could be. So in order to counteract that, if he comes back onto his back, feet on the floor, and then he lifts his hips up a few centimeters, brings them over to the left side of the mat, place them down. Now he lifts his knees up over his hips, lowers his knees down to the right, and you can see that he's much more centered along the center line of the mat. And then from here, you can have the hand on the floor or the hand on the thigh. I like it to have a little bit of weight there, but it's really just personal preference. Left hand out to the left, and he can either look up towards the sky or he can look over towards his left elbow if he wants. Now, I mentioned this back on the first day, that this shoulder is not necessarily going to get down, and some teachers they sort of get in a real thing about, your shoulder must be on the floor or something. It's not how I prefer to do it. So if the shoulder comes down, then great. But if it doesn't, well, there's options. He can actually take this arm and reach up and away on this diagonal, and then, yeah, maybe the shoulder will come down, maybe it won't, but he can actively reach. So you're reaching away, so you're reaching towards me, Paddy. Yeah, and this is a great way of getting this opening through the chest and through the shoulder and getting that spinal rotation. So sure, if the shoulder's down, great, but I actually prefer to get these have the hips aligned. So you come all the way over here, use the right hand to hold the knee down, and then reach away and let the weight of this arm do a gentle opening. You're not forcing anything. You're not pushing. I'm not going to come in there with some adjustment where I push this shoulder down or anything like that. He's just going to reach away and allow the body to open itself. So now Paddy will come back to center and set up for second side, just so that he's balanced. So you're going to lift your hips up, shift them over to the right, place them back down, and then lift the knees, lower the knees to the left. Good. So get your legs stacked up first. Good. Left hand on right knee, right arm out. You always want the right palm up towards the sky. And there's a nice variation that some people like to do, whereby you're going to hook the lower foot round the back of the top foot. Yes, like that. So it's just a little bit of extra weight, keeps the knees nice and tight. And then same thing, Paddy's shoulder is not on the floor here, but he can take this diagonal with this arm, reach back and away, and he's reaching over there. And yeah, beautiful. This is Reclining Twists.